Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome and welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Thursday, March 26th. Annette, thank you for joining me for another episode. So glad to be here with you. And also, thank you for sharing that list of red flags and green flags, which you did yesterday. It gave me so much to think about. And it also opened my eyes and helped me be more aware. Some of these behaviors, you just get used to them and you don't even know they're going on. And then when someone says, hey, this is something to look out for, it can be eye-opening. Like, oh, wow, I knew that was going on. I felt it. I didn't like it, but I didn't realize it was so serious.
And that points to what you mentioned yesterday, I think it was, where we can make excuses for other people's misbehavior and poor behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to do that.
No, we don't.
Today, we're going to turn back in the book a few pages to page 111. And I was really excited about the podcast today because in our classes that we took from Terry Cole, she presents what she calls the Boundary Boss Bill of Rights. Her book was called Boundary Boss. And when I spent time with this Bill of Rights, remember, Ada, we printed these out. We put them on the refrigerator. I remember I had them on my bathroom mirror. We put them everywhere when we were first learning from Terry Cole. I think this is a wonderful response to yesterday's red and green flag discussion and list. When we see that maybe we're in a relationship that has a lot of red flags, or maybe we're not in a relationship right now, but we know that we have allowed a lot of red flag behavior in our lives, we can turn back a few pages and soak in the Boundary Boss Bill of Rights. These statements that she has on the Bill of Rights were life-changing for me.
They were for me too. I was just looking over them again because I haven't looked at them in a couple of years, and now they're represented in this book too much. They did change my life.
They changed my life.
I forgot about them. I forgot what they were, but I know when I look back at them, they were what affected me so deeply and helped me change my behavior, especially in terms of my boundaries.
When we are in relationships, whether we are now or not, but when we have experience with a lot of those red flag behaviors, we forget who we are. We forget that we can set boundaries to keep ourselves safe. That's what is probably the thesis statement for me in all of this. I know what it feels like to use high-functioning codependency to keep me safe. I don't have to do that anymore. I can have boundaries to keep me safe.
How does that feel?
It feels so much more peaceful inside. It feels like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. And it feels empowering because high-functioning codependency keeps you stuck. Boundaries, you can love more fully. You can show up in an authentic way. And they're the ticket to freedom, truly. They are. I like her little paragraph at the very beginning, kind of her introduction to her Boundary Boss Bill of Rights. She says, in my therapy practice, many of my clients struggle to identify their relationship rights. And I would say, because if you've been in red flag relationships, what happens there is it gets very messy inside.
And also, if you're a high-functioning codependent, and now we know that's from trauma, if you were in trauma since you were a little kid, you never thought about your rights in a relationship.
You didn't think that you could set a boundary.
No, that wasn't even an option. And it has been that way, or at least you thought it was that way, for basically forever.
And what her next sentence says is this is a struggle, and it's more intense if her clients have been in toxic and challenging relationships. So she wants us and her reader to use this guide, which is her Boundary Bill of Rights, when we're feeling unsure of our relationship rights. And I would also say anytime we need to remind ourselves of our own self-worth. Remember a few months ago, I have all the value I will ever have simply because I exist. I don't have to hustle for my worth. When I'm not hustling for my worth, I can be clear of my boundaries. So here's the first one. I have the right to say no or yes to others without feeling guilty. Now, in our podcast, we've laid the groundwork for all of this. We know healthy guilt from false guilt. We know that we don't have to put on a mask and say yes when we really want to say no, or the opposite. But here it is in the Boundary Bill of Rights. I have the right to say no or yes to others without feeling guilty. The next one is extremely important. I have the right to make mistakes, course correct, or change my mind. Now, when we're in unhealthy relationships with some of those red flag behaviors going on, we may be gaslit when we make a mistake.
Or it's brought up over and over and over. 10 years, 15, 20 years pass by. Oh, remember when you X, Y, or Z? It's like, come on.
And that's a way of someone trying to have power over us, always reminding us of what we did wrong. And that's what can lead to the trauma in the first place. But if we're coming from that very triggered and trauma reactive place, we just go to that low place inside. But no, you have the right to make mistakes, course correct, or change your mind.
When I said earlier that these Bill of Rights were life-changing for me, especially this one about the right to change my mind, I would feel so much pressure when if I agreed to something and then I thought about it and I thought, I really don't want to. I don't want to do that. Or if I was put in an uncomfortable or pressured situation and I went along to get along, and then it would always like, well, I agreed, so I have to keep going. I said yes. Even later, if I changed my mind, I wanted to say no, well, I have to keep going. I said yes. So learning, I do have the right to change my mind. I can change my mind at any time. I can change my mind before. I can change my mind in the middle. I can change my mind at any time. That gave me so much freedom and so much relief. Because then, even if I initially thought something was a good idea or I felt that pressure, it doesn't matter. I can always change my mind. I don't have to keep going.
Did you feel that once you were able to change your mind, that you could show up more authentically?
Yeah, what's funny about that, when I was given permission to change my mind, it helped me set the boundaries so I didn't have to. I had permission before, like I can change my mind at any time, so I might as well just start before I need to change my mind. I don't know, it just was a huge shift that I get to change my mind, so then I had better boundaries all around. So we're out of time for today, and we'll continue with these Boundary Boss Bill of Rights tomorrow. But our intention for today is to reflect on the first few rights that we've brought up and also reflect on how do we feel inside when we hear we get to have these Bill of Rights. Some of us may feel resistant. We may feel excited. Those are just two examples. Don't limit yourself to those two, but just check in. How does it feel when someone tells you you get to have a Boundary Boss Bill of Rights? for your relationships. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are a part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.